we're going to work on today is a wind formula that I come up with to actually make the wind easy. All right, a lot of the guys that actually come through the class, you know, the formulas that we used to use, range times wind divided by 35 to actually give you your hold in mils, or divided by 10 to give you your holds in minutes of angle, or a constant, you know, that's constantly changing. All right, what I found was if the wind's, that may work good when the wind's 6 miles an hour at 600 meters. All right, that's 36. I'm going to hold 1 mil. That's pretty simple math. All right, that's not hard. But now give me 17 miles an hour at 800. Do the math real fast. What is 17 times 8? All right, so you go through it and you go, well, 8 times 10 is 80. 8 times 7 is 56. So that's 136. 136 divided by 35 is what? All right,
Steve,
so come on, Steve, hurry.
Let me, hold on a second.
All right, the problem is it's not fast. All right, so what I did was I knew what the answer was. That was the easy part. All right, what we had to do was develop a formula that was third grade math, so we could stay on top of it under stress, gather it very quickly, and it was easy for the guys. They didn't have to pull out a calculator to actually do the math, or even utilize a PDA. PDA is probably the best tool we've ever had for long range shooting, but it's just a tool. It's not a crutch, and we can't depend on it for every day for every shot. All right, so when we look out here today and wind's blowing right now anywhere between 8 and 12 miles an hour, whatever the range is, we're going to move that decimal to the front of the range. So if the target's 500 meters, it starts out as 0.5 mils. All right, so once we do that, and that's at all ranges. All right, now once we do that, when it's 0.5 mils, now if it's 4 miles an hour, we're going to hold 0.5, because the 308 that we're shooting today is based off of 4 miles an hour. 8 miles an hour would be times 2 of the range. So at 500 meters, if the wind was blowing 8 miles an hour, we would hold times 2, it'd be 1 mil is our hold. So we'd be holding into the wind 1 mil. All right, if it's 12 miles an hour, 4 goes into 12 3 times. So we're gonna be 0.5 times 3, we'll hold 1.5 mils into the wind. All right, it's that same way at 300. If it's 8 miles an hour, 3 times 2 is 6, because there's 2 4-mile-an-hour winds in the 8-mile-an-hour wind. All right, so if it's 0.3 for 300 meters, we're going to hold 0.6, 0.3 times 2. All right, so every 4 miles an hour, we're going to hold the distance of the target in 10th mils. So if it's 600, it's 0.6. If it's 20 miles an hour, we'll hold 3 mils. Be 0.6 times 5, because there's 5 4-mile-an-hour winds in 20. Make sense? And it's just that simple. It doesn't have to be hard. All right, now, when we start refining it, you're going to see about 700, 800, 900, you add 0.1 to the initial. So if it's 700 meters, you're going to change it to 0.8. 800's 0.9. 1000's 1.1. Make sense?
It does.
All right, so we'll get kicked off with that today. Now, one of the big questions that I get a lot is what matters the most? Wind at your position or wind at the target? Or wind halfway in between? And the reality is, every bit of it matters, all right? If we were back on the south side of the ranch where it's just flat, the wind at your position is a good wind, because it's a known. We can pull out our Kestrel, we can put it into the wind, our little weather station, we know what the wind is. And as long as nothing obscures that wind all the way to the target, that's a good wind call, and as long as it's a full value wind, all right? But the problem is, out here, that's why we come out here. There's a lot of terrain features. All right, so you may feel wind right here and we're off the shelf a little bit. You may be feeling 8 to 10 right now, but actually up above this crest up here, it may be blowing 12 to 15 miles an hour. But down off this hill, it's not gonna be blowing but maybe 6 to 8 miles an hour. So now you have to look at the terrain features and how wind is actually affected by terrain. So if wind's going over a cliff's edge and starting to bull or eddy going down the hill, the wind value is less. So you have to look at the terrain and assess the value of the wind at that point. If you have a big canyon running into the wind, when it comes out of that canyon, it's pulling into that canyon, it's going to be picking up speed. So you have to look at the way the wind is channeled by terrain coming out of that canyon and the speed that it'll have, because it's actually had more time to pick up speed. As it starts to go uphill, you're going to see wind compress. All right? As the air compresses, it's going to pick up speed going uphill. So you have to look at each segment of the flight path of the bullet and ascertain what the wind hold is for each segment of that wind call. So the first 400 meters may only be a 4 to 6 mile an hour wind, and the last 600 meters may be a 10 mile an hour wind. Well, you figure the first, you figure the last, and then you add them together or subtract the two, you'll see on our wind course, there's actually one of the courses of fire, because of the terrain, that you'll have a right wind on the short range targets, and the long range targets will have a left wind today. All right, so you're gonna have to make a wind call on the first 200-300 meters from a right hand wind. Once you make that wind call, then you make the next 600 meters with that value of the left wind. All right, so now you have to subtract the two and take the shot. All right, so your bullet will get there. It's gonna make all those corrections for you, but you can't just say our wind today is 10 miles an hour at my position. But you can't say that doesn't matter either, because wind at the target may not be blowing at all for the last 300 meters on some of these shots today. So we have to look at the target, we have to look at halfway to the target, and we do that a lot by focusing out, all right, on our spotting scope. So we'll actually look and start focusing out, and focusing actually in closer. We'll look at the target. We're already going to know what the wind call is at our position, so we're going to look at the target and ascertain whether the wind is the same value or not, or what value it is. All right, and we do this by looking at mirage. So as mirage, you know, today the actual mirage is going to be blowing pretty good. A 4 mile an hour is a very visible, very recognizable mirage pattern. It just has nice big waves that just float flat across the ground. They're not trying to really lift. All right, once you starts lifting with the same, you know, waves, it's about 3 miles an hour. 2 miles an hour is going to lift at about a 45. 1 mile an hour is a bull with a direction, you know, to the bull. So we'll go through this and let you look through the spotting scope today. Remember, range times the value of wind in 4 miles an hour. So 8 miles an hour would be times 2. Obviously 10 miles an hour would be times 2.5. 6 miles an hour is times 1.5. 14 is times 3.5. All right, now real quickly, if the wind's 9 miles an hour, all right, all we have to do is times 2 plus 1. All right, it's that quick. Now, up to 600 meters, you could actually, on a 14 mile an hour wind, go times 3, that gets us to 12, and then plus 2. All right, so that gets me to 14 miles an hour. After 600 meters, I don't need to do that anymore, because the reality is if I go to 800 and it's 6 miles an hour and it needs to be times and a half, all right, that's a different wind call by 0.2 mils than if I did times 1 plus 2. All right, because that times and a half of 8 is 0.4. All right, so if I just do plus 2, I'm off my wind call nearly a minute of angle right now. All right, so I need to be aware after 600, we do the 1.5, 2.5, times 3.5, times 4.5, whatever the wind is. But anything under 600, I can do the, you know, times 1 plus 2, times 1 plus 1 for 5 miles an hour. For 10 miles an hour, I can do times 2 plus 2. For what is 7 miles an hour, times 2 minus 1. That makes sense? So it's very simple, all right? This math is really simple, 3rd grade math. You look out at the target, it's 400 meters, it's 0.4. Wind's blowing 12 miles an hour, 0.4 times 3 is 1.2 mils. Hold left and shoot. Hold into the wind and shoot. All right? We good? All right, let's go try it. All right, everybody, starting out first of every day, all right, or anytime you get a good change of atmospherics, you want to re-plug in your atmospheric conditions. All right, barometric pressure is 27.14. All right, you want to make sure that this is referenced to 0 underneath. We do not reference it to the altitude that we're at. Right now, about 2,600 feet. All right, we want to reference it to 0. All right, so that way the computer is generating a firing solution for the density altitude the bullet is flying through. All right, next we go to temperature. All right, the temp is 76 degrees, and as we increase through the day, as it gets hotter, we'll start changing it. All right, so we will always want to be aware of our conditions. Relative humidity is still 50. Same thing, check a true real fast just to verify. All right, we know there's about 800 meters for the 308s. We've got a target at 784. All right, the target is on the center range in between the bushes. Mangong target. Wind's blowing about 12 miles an hour. All right, for the 308s, Remember what we talked about. Every 4 miles an hour is the distance of the target. 784 rounds to 0.8. Then we add 1, so it's 0.9 times 3 is 2.7 left. All right, guys, you got to be really aware and shift with your wind call. As wind gusts, you're going to have to add. All right, when I say add, if the wind picks up 1-2 miles an hour, you're going to add 0.1, 0.2 meals. So from 2.7, if the wind gusts 3 miles an hour, we may go to 3 meals. But if it dies off, and we'll try to watch, most of us have enough power in our optics that you're actually able to see wind. All right, if you cannot see mirage because you don't have enough power in your optics, a lot of people say that too much power, the mirage will blow you out on your target. You can't shoot. Mirage is your friend. That's what's telling you what the wind's doing. All right, so you can always power up, check your mirage, power back down to where you're comfortable taking the shot. All right, but having the power, there'll be 90 times a day when you need more power. If you're at 10 power, there'll be 90 times a day you need more power. We're not worried a whole bunch about the low end of the scope. Very seldom do I shoot long range at 3 power. Right? In a wooded environment, something I can't see very far, obviously urban environment, that kind of deal, 3 power is good. All right, gives you a big field of view. What we're doing is long range precision work. The more power we have, the better we can shoot. So the 308 start out at 4 miles an hour times the distance of the target in 10th meals. So we start at 0.9 times 3 for 12 miles an hour. That gives us 2.7 hold, and we'll adjust off what the wind's doing downrange. Now Steve's shooting the 300 Win Mag. It works off every 5 miles an hour. So 12 miles an hour would be times 2.5. All right, so he can go in and take 0.9 times 2.5, and he's going to end up with 2.2. All right, you got that, Steve? All right, Travis, you ready? And your computer says what for elevation?
8.24.
8.24, all right. Wind's dying off a little bit. Go ahead and give me 2.5.
2.5?
2.5 left. All right, just off his right shoulder. All right, so go ahead and give me 2.7. Good job, nice hit. All right, guys, it's really important to watch your cant right now. We're on unlevel ground right here, shooting at a target that is on a big cant to the right on the hill in front of it. All right, and that was a little bit of the problem there. So, all right, Chris, go ahead. Give me 2.6. Wind's picking up just a little bit. All right, that's on the left side. All right, so go to 2.4. Hit. First shot was just off center of the base, so we know you have a good true. Second shot hit just on the favor right side of the target, center body. Good shot.
It was about 2.8 wind. Is that what you held, Chris?
He held 2.4.
Yeah, 2.4, 2.5.
It was just cant.
Okay.
It's
that's
really,
because that's what I think I did, is I compensated for cant by adding more wind when I didn't really need that much.
Yep. All right, you ready, Mike?
I am.
All right, looking at the wind, go ahead and give me 2.5. 2.6 left. All right, you're just a little bit low on the target off the right side. Watch your cant, make sure cant to the left a little bit. All right, does that look better?
It does.
All right, go ahead, stay with the 2.6. Fire when ready. All right, you hit. All right, Steve, you up? Good. Let's just go ahead and try you on the same target to start out. Plug in 784. We would normally go ahead and push you out to a further distance, but we'll show you that you can actually make it work here if we refine what we're doing. It's not optimal, but it will work at this range.
670 in the hold.
All right, give me 6.7. All right, every 5 miles an hour, wind at 10, that's 2.5 times the 0.8. We go to 0.9 times 2.5, 2.2 left. Yeah, all right, that was 2.2 left.
Yep.
All right, elevation was good. Your cant's what's getting you. Cant left, come left, come left. All right, try that, 2.2 left. There, better. It's just off the right side of the target.
So his cant almost
That cant
caused a mill.
Yeah, it's a mill. Remember we talked about 5 degrees of cant equals a 10th mill every 100 meters. All right, so at 800 meters, with 5 degrees of cant, he would impact 0.8 right. All right, so he's nearly dead on his wind call. Go ahead and give me 2.4, Steve. Watch your cant.
So basically he's off by a mil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that cant.
For all intents and purposes.
All right, give me 2.3. Hold left, 2.3. Hit. All right, good job. All right, that's why it's really important, guys, to have a level on your gun. When you start shooting these long ranges, you know, you're not on a golf course. Most people don't realize, because they shoot at normal ranges where you're on a flat berm, that the bulldogs came in, they made another flat berm that you put your targets in front of or on top of. You have trees behind it. It's real easy to make everything level and line up. You don't see it. But you get out here, you know, maybe you're hunting in Colorado or Utah or Wyoming or Montana, or you're downrange. You know, when you're doing that, you have elements like this: rolling hills, valleys, cliffs. Nothing's really level out here. And like I said, we don't even hang our targets level for that reason. We don't want to let you cheat. All right, we want you to actually calibrate your eye to what's level. So as you can see at 800, it's very easy to be 0.4 mils off. That's why having a bubble on your scope is extremely important. All right, that's why for the military, and it's a military only product, we actually made bubbles, Accuracy First Development Group did, for a bubble with a tritium level inside of it. Since the boys fight a lot at night, now they can actually ascertain whether the gun's level or not.
Well, what's crazy is back here, I mean, back here, it's not even the appearance of being slightly crooked. I mean, that we're canted that much to the left
it
to
looks
be
like
level.
It.
So
your perception is that it's really unlevel back here.
Yeah.
Because I have students all the time that I'll say, hey man, you're canted. He goes, no man, I look great. And then I'll go in and I'll set the gun up level and walk away from it, and he gets down on it, he goes, oh, no way. And I'll pull another student off that I know is shooting a level gun, and he'll can it back to level, and the other student will go, you know, it can't be level. And we'll bring out the eye touch, and he'll agree that it's, you know, it's level, and then he has to calibrate his eye. But it's much easier just to put a bubble on your scope. All right, there's multiple bubbles. There's Picatinny rail, there's scope mount bubbles. There's ones like Travis had that actually is a 3-position, that fold in, fold out, so the thing can actually move around, whether it's in a case or you're humping it or whatever. So it's something that's, you really need levels on your gun. I really didn't think so, but like I said, I grew up shooting scoped rifles since I was 6 years old in this type of environment. And so it was something I didn't really understand how many guys could actually be off, and I'm still off at times. You know, I'll line up and I'll check my bubble and I go, oh crud, I need to move over a little bit and get, you know, back level. So it's not just, you know, new shooters, it's everybody. And a lot of times, I really believe that most shots that are missed, that are just not, when I say most, at least 50% of the shots that are just barely off one way or the other is actually due to an unlevel scope. All right, just a slight amount of cant, and it puts you off 0.4. All right, 2.5 degrees is actually hard to see for most people. So if you're just barely off, we do a second shot correction, and you go, well, the wind's doing something downrange that we can't see. All right, so from that, we go ahead and make that one wind call, and now we think we're pretty good through the rest of the day because we're retaining that same cant through our shooting, when the wind value isn't really what we're shooting, but because of cant, it makes us get impacts. All right, so we actually cheat the system. But out here, that's why we have a course here, move over 40 meters, and we've got another course pointing in a different direction. And we do that on, you know, 6 different courses. We have a wind course for that reason. So you're moving around constantly. You're not shooting in one wind value. We can't cheat the system. You're gonna have to make a wind call every shot, all the way as we move around these hillsides. All right. So now that you've trued your gun, make sure you go ahead and save your gun. All right. And guys, like I said, every time you do your atmospherics, make sure you're looking at a reference 0 barometric pressure. It's very important. All right, now what I want you to do is, if you have a laser rangefinder, whether you're using the Mosquito or the Plur 15C, go ahead and laser the targets, all right? If you don't have a laser rangefinder, I want you to go ahead and mill the target. So you'll mill the width of the target 16 inches wide, all right, has a 12-inch head. All right, you can actually mill the total combined together if they're not overlapping. You can mill the head, you can mill the body, do the TR under target, the mill relation formula. You know the size of the targets now, you plug it in, you actually plug in what you mill the image size, and then hit done, and it'll automatically give you a firing solution. All right, if you have a laser rangefinder, for now I just want you to laser the target, all right, then plug it into the nomogram, the whiz wheel, or go ahead and plug it into your PDA, see how they marry up, and then go ahead and take the shot based off what they said. All right, wind call right now is about 12. I'm gonna let you start working your own wind calls, start feeling it. If you noticed a while ago, when you're in winds like this, you gotta be constantly changing. Like right now, the wind just lulled. You gotta take 0.2 off right now, off your wind call. If you don't, you're gonna be burning the offside edge. All right, so right now, every time you have to be looking and studying and calculating that wind. So as a baseline of 12 miles an hour in the lull, we'll take off a little bit. In the high winds, if it starts to gust, we may add 0.1 or 0.2. All right, so run a baseline of 12, off that, add or subtract until you get the actual wind call that you're looking for. And then do a second shot correction, move to the next target. So Chris, which one are you looking at?
There's that one right at the curve and then slightly up from the hill from there.
Okay, let's go ahead and mill. You're gonna mill the head of the target? Yeah. With the crosshairs at the bottom of his head. If you look up, it's about an 8, so go ahead and hold 4 mills. Give me 1.8 left, give me 1.6 left. Fire when ready. 4 mils elevation. Hit. You're good. Now you continue with that, Travis. You ranged the target, correct?
I did.
And it ranged out as what?
525.
525. And your hold?
4.1. Getting about a 12-mile-per-hour wind.
And you're up the hill by the bush?
I am. Square head, right side of the road. So for wind, about 12 miles per hour. So
all right, so 500 starts at 0.5, right? 12 miles an hour, be 1.5 left.
1.5, okay.
All right, it's just on the edge where it's starting to crest and go up a little bit, so wind's gonna start picking up. There's a canyon to your left, so we can anticipate that the wind may actually be a little bit more going through that area with the terrain features. So go ahead and give me 1.7 left right now. The wind was a little bit more. You see, just went off the right side. Your elevation's perfect. All right, and you got a good level bubble?
Nope, that's what it was.
Ah, that's what it was. All right, so go back and give me the 1.7 left. Just barely right, all right? Just make a full second shot correction. 0.4 to center. There you go, excellent. And when we're talking about that full second shot correction, what you don't want to do is baby step it over, guys. If he hit 0.4 right, instead of being 1.7, we need to be 2.1. Get in the center of the target. It's always better to be strong than it is to be on the weak side. All right, it's never got a chance on the weak side. Plus, we want to bracket it. All right, so if you know your math formula gave you a edge hold, all right, you know the bullet's moving some left to right, so why not go ahead and aim off the left side a little bit? If you're just going for hits on steel, you need to favor and bracket your target so you're shooting at a full 16-inch target instead of an 8-inch target. Mike?
I'm going to start with Chris's first target.
The round head?
Round head.
All right, bush 14 mils to the left. All right. All right, and you lays that target at what range?
499.
499, so it starts out at 0.5. Wind at 12 miles an hour, be 1.5 left. All right. Go ahead.
I'm gonna try for a headshot.
All right, go ahead. All right, that wind, do you feel the wind die right before you pull the trigger?
I do.
All right, that was my bad. I should have pulled you back. All right, so you feel it's still dead. So go ahead and give me a 1.2 mil hold. 1.3, 1.4. We're just gonna be changing their headshot. You see what we're doing?
Yes.
Once we make our baseline call of 1.5, then it's my job, you know, if you have a spotter, to continually be changing that. That telling this guy that he has to shoot as close as possible, the wind call is correct, but if the spotter sees a change, it's his job to do it. Your job is to give me the most accurate shot you can give me. That doesn't mean a hurried shot. If I'm seeing a wind change downrange, it's my job to give you that correction. I can't just blurt something out and just hope you get a hit, and now it's because you didn't shoot close to my wind call that's actually off. So it's my job to actually have told you, hey, come down to 1.3, give me 1.2. Continually be talking, letting the guy have confidence his wind call is correct. Right now we'd be up around 1.6 on that target. All right, Travis, where you at?
I'm at 717. It's a small 12-inch head plate.
All right, I'm on it. Got it.
717, so I've got 7 mils elevation.
Yep.
And for wind, I would go 2.4.
All right, 17 turns to 8. 8 times 3 is 2.4. Oh, this is a good wind call. He's just off at 10 o'clock off that little 12-inch plate.
A little high, 10.
Just favor high, really, right at 10. If we'd have been 0.1 mil inside, we'd get a guy to hit. All right, Mike, you good?
Yeah.
All right.
675, target up by the bush.
Roger that. 675 goes to 0.7. 0.7 turns to 0.8, right?
Yeah.
8 times 3 is 2.4. All right, wind's lulling, go to 2.2. 2.1, 2.2. 2.1.
Parallax adjustment.
Yeah,
Stand by.
good job. Always adjust your parallax, make your target in clear focus every shot. Your ocular focus should never be touched again once you've actually set it at 100 meters. All right, give me 2.2. Dead center hit, good shot. All right, now constantly work on that as we're changing. As you know, we called a 2.4 wind, but it started lulling, so we started making those corrections every time. All right, good shot. All right, Steve-O, you're milling targets?
Correct.
Where you want to go?
Second target back, left side of the road at the bend.
I see the target that you're talking about. Go ahead and mill it. What do you get?
About 0.5.
All right, that's a 12-inch head in height at 0.5. He should be right at 610. So what does the PDA say?
610, 4.3 hold.
4.3. So go ahead and give me 4.3. Now your time's 2.5 on your wind, all right, because it's 5-mile-an-hour winds. If we're dealing with 12 miles an hour, it's actually back down to about 10 now, so only do times 2. So 0.6 times 2 is 1.2 left. All we do is take the range of 0.6 for 610, every 5 miles an hour with a 300 wind mag. 10-mile-an-hour wind be 1.2. Go ahead and send it. All right, you're just barely off the right edge, but you're actually a little bit high. All right, wind's picking up. You can feel it. Give me 1.5 left. Drop your hold by 0.4 elevation. All right, you're 0.6 to the right now. Watch your level. That's what it is. I can see it from here. There you go. Make sure you're level. All right, same elevation, but let's go back to our wind call. Wind's probably 10 to 12 miles an hour. So that's 1.2 to 1.5. So let's just bracket that. Put 1.2 on his left side. 1.5 will be center. Go ahead and send it. There, nice. So yeah, we just make a fast bracket. We know it's 10 to 12, 1.2 is left side, 1.5 would be center on that side's target. All right, where you at, Travis?
I was thinking about that 1,200 meter plate.
All right, let's go on out and shoot at the 1,200 meter target. All right, so go ahead and plug in 1,217 meters. We're gonna go at the back far target. All right, so now when we actually go out to 1,217 meters, all right, what I want you to do at first is I want you to go into range card, and I want you to scroll down until you see an asterisk beside your range.
Okay, at 1050 it starts asterisk.
All right, so you see an asterisk at 1050. All right, that's what that's telling us is that's where this bullet is going into subsonic flight. Well, once a bullet goes into subsonic flight, you're going to start losing gyroscopic stability. All right, you may even start losing some of it in transitional or transonic flight. All right, so once it starts losing gyroscopic stability, basically what you're going to have is more drag on the bullet due to the more surface area exposed to the oncoming wind. What is drag? All right, drag is BC. All right, so you have two types of drag, density altitude drag and BC drag. All right, it's still just drag. So when you shoot out at distances in subsonic regions, you're going to have to actually change the BC because that's the variable that's actually changing. All right, so we know from shooting out at these ranges all the time, you know, 12, 13, 14, 1,500 meters, 1,600 meters at a mile, we know about how much change there's going to be, but I'm going to walk you through the process real quick and show you how you can actually find out what your subsonic BC is and run an extrapolation table based off that.
Okay.
All right.
And so everybody understands that we're about to take a 308, which most people say the max effective range would be between, I mean, depending on what, you know, organization you're with, 800 to 1,000 yards. And we're about to shoot at 1,200 with no problem.
Yeah, so we're pushing out 1,217 meters, you know, probably half again what the effective range normally was thought of the weapon system. All right, so go ahead and add 1 mil to your hold right now. So what does the PDA tell you?
Target is now 1217. 19 mils.
19 mils. So I want you to go ahead and hold 20 mils on the target.
Okay.
All right. So go ahead and line up. And everything that you do right now is going to show up big. So loading your bipods, and this is part of the class. By shooting at these extended ranges, we actually start seeing everything that you do wrong behind the gun. All right. So
which really goes back to what we talked about a long time ago, which is all fundamentals and consistency. Absolutely. So as long as you're consistent with your fundamentals, and what we're doing now might look like more advanced technique, but as long as we apply to fundamentals, we can do it.
And now I'm also zooming back from 25 power to 10 power just so I can see my 20 mil reticle line.
Exactly. Since it's the first focal plane reticle, as you back off in power, you're going to actually get to see more mils, as opposed to a second focal plane reticle that the reticle actually stays the same size. And what Chris was stating earlier, it is just fundamentals. That's one of the main reasons we push out to a mile with 308s. It's kind of like, it's a tool. Once you understand how to use that tool, I tell people, you know, when you change your alternator, you have to buy that one wrench that's shaped like a 90-degree angle. You may never ever use it again unless you have another alternator go out. But when you need that tool, it's the only tool that'll work. So it's just better understandings, you know, a broader understanding of all the fundamentals. But if Travis doesn't do everything exactly right each shot, it's really going to show up at 1,200. And at a mile, it's even going to be more. All right, so
in wind here, I'm looking at 10 miles per hour out there, averaged all the way out, 4.2 mils. And
okay.
I'm also seeing some spin drift coming here, almost 0.3.
Yep.
Left.
So go ahead and let's just go ahead and hold 4.5 left. Holding 20 mils on the target.
4.5.
Just off his right shoulder. All right, just go ahead and give me 0.4 more mils left. Send another one. All right, that just impacted just off his left forehead. All right, if you look at those two shots, we're actually just a little bit high. You're holding center body, correct?
I am.
All right, you're about 0.2 mils high. So the 1 mil that I gave you extra, probably needed to be 0.8. So go ahead and hold 19.8 center body, and go ahead and give me 4.3 mils left. All right, the wind lulled. That was 0.8 left. So we'll watch the wind, make sure it doesn't change. Go ahead and bracket off, come to 3.6.
That's pretty weird through there because of the way those two kind of plateaus come together and come up on that other hill.
As you can see, we have two big canyons on our left side allowing wind, and there's another canyon even before we get to that last one. So we have 3 different canyons of winds creating different velocities. All right, go to 4 mils for wind, to the left.
Hit.
Excellent, nice. All right, so you can actually see your elevation though was from basically headshots just above his right shoulder to just off his left forehead. All right, that's an 8-inch head at 1,600 or at 1,217 meters. All right, so then when we moved you down, you were just off left side center, which was still within that exactly where he was holding, and then he got a center body hit. All right, so really the weapon at 1,200 meters is really holding about an 8-inch group right now. All right, and that's within all the errors that we present into the problem in our shooting. But that was really good. All right, so now what you're actually going to end up doing is you have to actually true out your BC, all right, because that's a variable that's actually changing right now. So we go through the same process of the truing drop, but we true our BC, and then we plug in our previous conditions under our drag coefficient table.
So that's I mean, from everything that I've always been taught or seen and heard or read books about, it's pretty amazing to show that the bullet just showed me everything I needed to know. And it's so controversial out there when people even think about going with a weapon system like this past that range. And from what I know with you can push it even farther.
Absolutely. And basically, we just let the bullet create the formulas for us. We're not doing anything, you know, wazoo. We're not coming up with anything just hairy, scary. We're actually letting the bullet develop the formulas for us.
It's science, yeah. It's work, and it's, I mean, I'm curious to see how much farther we can go with it.
We will. We'll continue pushing on.
All right.
All right. All right, guys, now we're on the wind course. All right, on this course of fire, it's 360 degrees. All right, we're going to be moving from one target to the next. Next target's 40 degrees off the line that we're firing now. The value out of this is normally when you get on a range and you're going to be shooting in a certain direction all day long. All right, you make your first wind call, you make a correction, you pretty much build your own algorithm in your head pretty fast. You know, everybody's smart enough that you see, hey, maybe it's a 7-mile-an-hour wind down there, so you do all your math on that. Pretty quick, you're building your own algorithm in your head without ever really making another wind call. All right, so what we do when you come out here, it's 360 degrees. You're having to make a wind call every target. Every target's going to be different all the way around this. We're starting right now, nearly pointing due south. All right, our last target's going to be pointing southeast, but we're going to go all the way around to get back to it. All right, so once we get started, I want you to look at the terrain. Terrain's going to tell you everything. Right now, winds gusting between probably 14 and 18 miles an hour. All right, so when you look at that, this first target, if you look at the wind, it's coming from our 11 o'clock position. All right, 11 o'clock's about half value. All right, so immediately you're already coming down to probably an 8-mile-an-hour wind. As you get wind wrapping around this hill in front of us, you got about the first 250 meters, pretty much a non-value wind. It's coming straight into you. So the next 250 meters, you're going to actually have to make a wind call. But the problem is you have a big canyon scooting off to the southeast. All that wind is going to be flowing off over there and sucking down here around us. So there is going to be actually more value of wind in the last 250 than what we're filling up here, or actually what we're going to incur in the first 250. All right, so starting on the right, Chris, target range is 503. All right, once you plug in your data, based off your wind call, and think about it, the wind's only coming about 8 miles an hour right now. All right, so for your gun, every 5 miles an hour is the range in 10th mils. It's 500, so it starts out as 0.5. at 8 miles an hour, you could nearly do times 2 minus 2. All right, so it'd be about 0.8 mils. That would be for 8, all right? You ready? Go ahead and make your wind call, feel the wind. It's very important, like we talked about earlier, always change your wind call based off what you're feeling immediately. Don't get locked into a wind call. So when you're sitting here, wind's all of a sudden blowing in the side of your face on the left side, and all of a sudden it hits dead on you, you need to take off a little bit of that wind. All right, so I'm gonna let you.
0.6 right now, is that good?
All right, go ahead and try it. Beautiful, excellent. All right, Mike. Let me hold you up, Mike. Let me throw something out real quick. What you see a lot is something that Chris did, but he waited, he did it right, all right? The problem is rapid bolt manipulation, all right? A lot of times they're taught, especially in the Marine Corps, to run rapid bolt very fast. What we have to be aware of is information is the most important thing that we're getting out of this shot right now. You need to know where your bullet hit. So as soon as you saw it hit, you ran the bolt, got your gun back up in the fight quick. Just same with the second shot correction. If that was a deer or a coyote out there, you'd shoot, watch the bullet impact, run your bolt fast, you're back up, make your good second shot correction, send it as fast as you can, making a good shot to where you're actually shooting in the same environment of wind, all right? But if you shoot, run your bolt, and you don't know where you hit because you moved your optics while you were running your bolt, you know where you broke the shot off. So you don't have to tell me, hey Todd, man, I was about 0.2 left when I broke the shot, and I look at it and I go, okay, well you were 0.3 left, so, all right, really that's 0.1 correction, all right? All that takes time. What'd the wind just do while I'm explaining it? Wind cut down to nearly half value what it was. So now I have to give you a complete another wind call. If you shoot, watch where your bullet hits, run your bolt fast, make your correction, send it, you're shooting in the same environment. And it's actually a more knowledgeable shot because your body position allows you to see that shot. All right, so you can make a very knowledgeable shot off of what you saw, where the shot broke, where the shot impacted, and you can make a more knowledgeable and faster and probably more accurate second shot correction that way. All right, sorry Mike, go ahead. Now that you have your wind call and we messed with you for the last 2 minutes. Nice, very nice. So what was your wind call?
0.7.
0.7, excellent. All right, Travis.
3.5, 0.7.
Power when ready. The wind's picking up. Very good, bottom right edge. Still got a hit though. You caught it though and you came up. If you would have stayed with the 0.7, you'd have been off the right edge. Good call. All right, Steve. All right, run your bolt, make your second shot correction. Nice, good job. All right, make sure you load your bipods every shot. It's very important to do everything the same way, all right? If you don't load your bipods, your gun's gonna recoil a little bit differently. You may impact a little bit high. Again, we're not on nice level ground. We're not on a golf course, all right? So you're gonna be in weird positions. You gotta make sure that scope's level every shot. If you look 40 degrees to your right, you're gonna actually see a pond, all right? So I want you to get up and shift your body around, and there's gonna be a target there and a target but further out. So everybody go ahead and shift position. All right, guys, now we've readjusted probably, if you look at it, really probably honestly about 50 degrees to the right. All right, now what you really gotta pay attention to is what the wind's doing. All right, now the wind is actually coming from the same 11 o'clock position off where we were firing at, which is not quite a full 90 degrees, all right? So we're not at a full 100% value right now. All that wind's being sucked through this saddle over here on the right side. So wind's gonna compress, it's trying to move through this saddle right now. But down there at the target, we're gonna be going off in the bottom part of the hill. All right, so at the target, there's gonna be less wind. Up here is this bullet goes over this cap rock here. All right, that's gonna be the highest wind value. All right, so you have to look at the wind. Wind's blowing right now, probably real close to about 16 miles an hour. And I would guess that's gonna be real close to a 3/4 wind value. All right, our next target will be closer to nearly the same value, then our fourth target will be full value. All right, so again, we're looking at 3/4 of 16, which is 12, right? And usually I cut that down right off the first. I look at the value of the wind, the cosine that it's blowing in from. I already go ahead and make my cosine correction. 3/4 wind value, I'm already looking at 12 miles an hour. As you can see right there, wind just came down to about 8 miles an hour. All right, so we're gonna have to make that adjustment as we go. All right, so a 3/4 wind value of what you're feeling. All right, right now it's about 14. All right, so Chris, the best thing to do is don't look at doing a whole bunch of math and then recomputing it. Figure a baseline and then sit there and figure off that what the wind's doing and make your corrections. So baseline we're gonna say is probably right now about 15 miles an hour.
So for me, about 1 mil or 1.2.
All right, target range was 435, right?
So I'm on.
So that starts us at 0.4.
Correct.
Yeah, the 1.1, 1.2 would be really good because that's times 3. That'd get you up to 12 miles an hour. And I'd rather you be on the strong side than on the weak side. So let's go ahead and feel that wind.
Yeah, it just died down.
Yeah, good job. Starting to pick back up. Stay with your first call. Very nice, very nice. All right, now the wind's really gusting for Mike.
Okay. Range 435.
435, wind's gusting nearly 18.
That's about a 3 mil. 3 mils.
All
My
right,
elevation, wind call.
wind's dying back a little bit.
About 1.1 on the low side.
1.1 on the low side of the wind's good. We're in a good medium wind right now, slight to
gusting.
gust. So if you take your 1.1 as your wind call, hold center, and as it starts to gust, you just move it left in the target. All right, starting to
Gust is
gust.
stronger. About 1.3.
Staying constant at the high wind. Very nice.
Nice shot, Mike.
Very nice. All right, you hit on the left side, but that's good. You were averaging, you were looking at the wind, and you were playing the wind. That 1.1 was a good wind call. All right, but you made your target bigger.
I've got a question for you,
Yep.
Todd. I mean, with us being right here and all this grass in the way, and I mean, there's a good chunk of stuff in front of us. My question, I guess, is, I mean, is it having an effect? Does it not matter? I mean,
No, it
everybody
won't matter.
says don't put it in front of you. So
Yeah, your bullet's not going to be affected by this type of grass and what we're shooting through right now. Now, if we were shooting through brush, yeah.
That's a big misconception too, because they'll say, some people will say, and I've heard it as a kid growing up hunting, that if you hit even the smallest piece of grass, it's going to deflect your bullet.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of times they'll say, you know, even a blade of grass touching your barrel will mess with the harmonics. Don't believe it. We'll tie 550 cord around your heavy barrel. I wouldn't do it to a hunting barrel, all right? But around your heavy barrel, we'll tie a 550 cord right at the end of your forearm, wrap it around a telephone pole, and cam into it, pulling on it, and you'll still shoot shots at 800 meters in a standing position. All right, you'd never ever think of doing it that way. But it's just the lessons on harmonics. Plus, you have a short barrel. I love short barrels. They're stiffer, all right? Less harmonics, less harmonic shift, less impact shift with cans as we go can on, can off. So I'm a big fan of fast twists and short barrels. All right, Travis?
All right, I got 2.9 elevation.
Yep.
Steady 14 mile per hour wind, 1.47 is what I got per wind, so I'm gonna hold 1.5.
All right, feel the wind, it's starting to back off now. Nice shot. Wind came up just as you was breaking the shot. That was really nice.
Yeah, and I dropped the wind off about
0.2?
0.2.
Yep, good job. All right, you ready, Steve?
Yes, sir.
All right, wind's picking up a little bit.
2 mils hold, and I'm about 1 mil, a little strong to the left.
All right, you're shooting a 300, so your wind call won't be quite as much as theirs.
So it's about 1/2 mil.
It's not quite that either. It's you're probably looking at a 3/4 wind off what they were holding. So it's every 5 miles an hour. Give me 1.4 left. same elevation hole. Favor bottom third of the plate. 1.4 left, aim and squeeze all the way through. Let it be a surprise break. Nice, perfect. All right.
See what trigger control does, Steve?
Amazing.
All right, everybody bolt up. We're gonna move to a different position. Now we're gonna move again about 40 degrees off to the right again. All right, so we'll get up, move into the next position, and we'll lay back down. Next shot's gonna be 783 meters. All right. Now we're just moving to the next target that's straight up above that line. This target's about 591 meters out from this position. So go ahead and plug it into your PDAs. All right, think about the same wind conditions that we talked about earlier. All right, we've still got wind blowing in constant 12, 14 miles an hour. It's not really blowing that much at all. So we're still dealing with about a 3/4 value though. Wind's starting to shift from our left, more in front of us. So now it's not a half value. I'd consider it more of a 2/3 value. All right, Chris, you're up. Wind's starting to blow again. Wind's back up around 18. Down to 16. Back up to 18. 2/3 value. Pay attention to the direction, the way it's hitting your face. All right, back to 3/4 value. 18 mile an hour. All right, just off right edge. All right, the wind was just starting to gust. Go ahead and make your full second shot correction. All right, still off the right edge. How much did you move it? Need to come 0.4 left from where you're at.
That's what I tried to move it over.
All right.
So I'm almost on 2.
All right, pay attention to the wind. Gusting and lulling. You're in a pretty constant gust. There you go.
That was 2.
Good deal, nice shot.
That was a solid 2.
All right, make sure your scope's level. Remember, if you don't have a level on your scope, you can look over the top of the turret and get it visibly pretty level, and you're not gonna be far off. All right, you'll actually have more of a problem looking through the reticle and ascertaining if it's actually level or not. So start out looking right over the top. All right, Mike, you up?
5.1 is my elevation.
All right.
And it's dying down.
Now it's starting to bleed out. Here it comes back. Pretty strong gust. Nice. Good job.
So Todd, quick question for you. For me, once I kind of was in that gust, I decided to put it on 2 and leave it on 2. So at that point, do you have more of a, are you making kind of a judgment, which is, hey, I'm gonna either hold for more max wind and break my shot in more of the high wind situation, or wait for the lull and then break your shot there, vice trying to go back and forth in between.
Like you did when you broke the shot and it was off and you said, okay, I needed to hold 2 meals. All right, if the wind stayed constant, man, I'd move over and do a second shot correction. But if I made the 2 meals swing and all of a sudden the wind was actually dying down on me, then I would start chopping off what I thought was my gusting wind to my medium wind. And if it was from 18 down to 14, then I just jump down nearly the distance of the target because it's nearly the 5 for you.
Was holding the 2 mil dot in the center of the plate, and as the wind came up and down, moving it left and right.
Yep, that's what you need to do.
Okay, instead of just kind of ambushing it there and then waiting for the wind to come up, because we may not have an opportunity to wait. Okay.
Yeah, you may have to take that shot.
All right, understood.
So,
I was chasing it the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's when guys start really maturing in their shooting. It's when they don't have to lock in and wait for a medium wind to hit. They make one wind call and they wait for that wind call to get there, your actual wind value to come back. So you got to be constantly changing and understand how much wind's going to move that left and right. If you was using the PDA, you'd actually plug in, hey, it's gusting from 13 to 18 miles an hour, and in that we'd know where our swing was. So it may be a 1.2 all the way to a 2 mil hold, and if it was dying, we'd all of a sudden we'd know it's 1.3, so we'd drop down to 1.3, then jump up to 1.5. As it kept gusting, come on up to 2 mils.
Okay, thanks.
Travis?
All right, 591 meters. I got a 4.9 elevation, 1.8 hold on the wind, 7. Oh,
All right.
that wind shifted there or something.
Good level.
So that was, I need to go,
Scope in level.
scope was not level.
There you go. All right, so you were about 0.6 mils off,
Yeah.
and that's how far you are. So you probably had about a 5-degree cant. Hold the same wind.
Okay,
Give me another shot. You good and level?
good and level.
All right, wind's gusting up a little bit more. Add 0.2. So you're at 2 mils now. All right, it's dropped out just off the 8 o'clock. Load your bipod. Make sure you maintain bipod. Check your level.
You said I was off the right side?
Off the left side, 8 o'clock position on the target.
Okay, we'll go back 1.8.
All right. All right, that actually hit right at the 6 o'clock on the stand. Dead center for wind, so your wind call was perfect. Just come up about 0.3. Hit.
Nice job.
Good job. Excellent. A lot of times it's just that load, getting that consistency. We're not in a real comfortable position
No.
right here too, so a lot of times it's
I got rocks in places that I don't normally like them.
All right, Steve, you up? Your 1.6 was good a while ago. Use that 1.5. Go to 1.6. Bottom edge of the plate. Nice. Good job. All right, guys. The next target we're going to shoot at 770 meters out. All right, we're probably looking at really close to about 110-degree swing from where we started out. All right, winds gusting anywhere from 12 to 16 miles an hour right now. It's not blowing a whole bunch, but it's certainly blowing us off enough to get off a 16-inch target. All right, so go ahead and figure out your dope, 770 meters. All right, now we're in a full value wind. All right, so if it's in its gusts, it's going to be ×4 for the 308. All right, so we're at 800, really close to 800, so it's 0.8. We add 1, that's 0.9. All right, so at that distance, we're probably looking at close to 3.5 mil hold. All right, as it's lulling, all right, that's going to be basically 4 times the 0.2 off. All right, so we're going to have to be aware of that. So if it's 14 miles an hour, it's only going to be times 3.5 of that 9. All right, it's really lulled. Chris, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, wind's only probably about 10 mile an hour right now, so it's ×2 for you. So give me about a, starting to move, give me about a 2 mil hold. Or you got something else?
I was in between 2 and 2.5.
Okay, go ahead. Let's start out in the lull at a 2. Starting to pick up a little bit.
That's 2.
All right, it was just starting to pick up a little bit. All right, yep, go ahead and go to 2.4. Just off the right edge. All right. Scope looks good and level. Go ahead and move to 2.4, wind died down. Stay at 2.4, it's picking up, go to 2.5.
On 2.5.
All right, picking up, go to 2.6. Fire when ready. Still off the right side. All right, picking up with the wind. Wind's gusting. Go to 3 mils. Hit. Nice. All right. Mike, you up?
Yep. All right, 8 mils for the elevation. And my wind hold will be 3.2.
All right. Starting to lull a little bit. It's picking back up. Gusting. Back down to medium wind. Wind's dying. Nice shot. Good job.
That was 2.9.
All right, excellent. Way to play the wind. All right, Travis.
Same thing, 8 elevation, 2.9.
All right, fire when ready. All right, you're just off the right side. You feel that wind hit us?
Yeah.
Right after you broke the shot? It actually probably hit the bullet's flight path before it got to us. All right, so go ahead and make full second shot correction. Move to 3-3.
Same thing.
Yeah, just off the right edge. Good and level, scope looks level. All right, nice hit. What'd you have to move to?
3.2.
All right, just a little level then. All right, Steve? All right, go ahead and fire. Wind's gusting. I'd be 3 mils on the left side with your gun right now. Hit.
Nice, good job, Steve.
Nice shot, buddy. All right, guys, let's get up and walk the wind course. All right, guys, we moved 180 degrees off where we were firing a while ago. All right, first target's 532 meters out. It's just right off that pyramid point to the right, going up the crest of the hill about halfway up. All right, wind value is still about the same. It's backed off to about 12 miles an hour, but it's only about a 3/4 value. So figure your wind at about 9 miles an hour right now. All right. So Mike, you're up first.
Seems like it's a lot further than 500 yards.
It does.
Yeah,
Just
it really does.
there's no land in between us and that thing.
And really, that's the deception there is you're seeing all the ground. That's one reason that max point blank, you know, really doesn't work that well. It works really well when you're talking short distances, but when you start doing estimation by eye of range, and you're in an element that's not your home environment, it really gets to where it's really deceiving. You start missing a lot of shots. So that's when we teach, you know, doing flash meals, getting something really nice and close for an actual meal, and then holding an associated meal on it. So, or actually really milling the target or ranging it, because you'll see the target here in a minute, 635 meters out, and it looks like it's 800 because you see a lot of the ground, then you don't see the next canyon. It's setting up on top. So the range estimation by eye works for close range stuff, but it really doesn't work well when you're not in your home environment and you're shooting across canyons where you can see all that ground. All right, Mike, you up?
I am. All right, so I got 4.1 mils elevation, and I'm gonna hold 1 for wind.
All right, that's good. Watch the wind as it's picking up, but I think you'll be fine. Nice hit, good job. On your belt, there you go. Nice, pretty shot. Just favor right in the target.
That one I was trying to do what you said last time, which is float it a little bit, because I could feel the wind changing a little bit.
Started to pick up just a little bit. You're making your target bigger, that's smart. Bracketing the size of the target. All right, Travis.
3.8, 1.3 wind.
Watch the wind, she's dying on you a little bit.
1.2.
Still dying, good hit.
Nice shot.
Nice job.
All
right, next target. Tighten your can. All right, stay in your position, just swing to the right, guys. We're just shifting fire. All right, target range is 528. All right, but be aware, guys, we've shifted more into the wind. We have more wind value. All right, wind's still about 12, but it's nearly full value. We're probably looking at least 3/4 to full value. So bracket in between the two. Mike, you got it?
On target.
All right, fire when ready.
Wind looked good, right?
Yeah, wind is just barely left. Did you hold 1.3?
I did.
All right. Now you look at the target. Target's 500 meters out. It starts at 0.5. Full wind value of 12 miles an hour would be times 3. So it gives you a 1.5. Go ahead and try it. Wind picking up slightly. Go to 1.6.
Nice shot, Mike.
Nice job.
That looked dead center too, huh?
All right, you ready, Chris?
Yeah, I'm floating between 1 and 0.8.
That'd be about right. Just off the left side, 9 o'clock. Did you hold 0.8?
I was right in between 1 and 0.8.
All right, just swing over.
Go more solid 1.
Yeah, Give it a solid 1.
Elevation all right?
Yeah, elevation's perfect.
Oh wow. I must have pulled it.
Now watch the elevation line you're on. Nah, good shot. All right, Travis.
All right.
As soon as it quits swinging a little bit, or if you want to time it and try it, go ahead.
3.8, 1.5.
Just off at 1230. Just barely high. Could be. All right, nice hit. You know, a lot of times when you're shooting out there like that, that's, 528 meters. Your cone of fire, probably for that weapon system's at least, 3 inches. So it's, sometimes you'll just barely be over the top and the next shot, same shot will hit. But you probably came down a little bit.
I came down.
Yep.
I adjusted quickly on the reticle.
Good job, nice shot. Next target, 575. All right, this is full value in from the right. Target range is 575, that moves to 0.6. All right. Wind values, what would you say, close to 12 to 14?
So for me, I'm holding like 1.4.
On 300?
Yeah.
At 0.6 would be times 2 plus 2. Yeah, 1.4. 1.314.
All right, here's 1.4 at the bottom of the target.
Mike?
2.
Go ahead. You're looking at 0.6, which really could turn into 0.7 times 3 is 2 mils. You've already bracketed off.
Yeah, I'm holding 2.
All right, hold 2. Watch the wind lulling. All right, wind picking back up. Nice. Right in the right side, right off his sternum, halfway to the edge. Good shot. Right in his heart.
Directly
low.
What did
Good wind call.
What's your elevation, Mike?
Elevation was 4.9 mils.
That was me on the trigger.
All right, it's just off right edge. Just aim and squeeze, aim and squeeze. Your wind call was correct on the first shot. All right, nice hit. All right, Travis?
4.9, 2 mils of wind.
All right, pay attention to the wind. Good call. Nice. Good shot. All right, Steve-O. All right, just off left shoulder. Hit. Good job. Hey guys, how'd y'all like the wind course?
Well, for me, the diversity and shooting with the wind coming from different directions, I don't have an opportunity to be able to shoot in an environment like this, let alone trying to read wind at you. Just like you said, you're having to read wind at you and out there, and there's a lot of different things that are happening. The perception of how far away the target is. I'm used to that flat range where you can kind of count your 100 yards all the way down and go, that's 500 or that's 600. And here, I mean, that one target that we just got done shooting would appear to me, if I was to guess, to be an 800-yard shot, but it's really only 500 and maybe 50 yards. So that, just reading kind of that terrain and seeing the how valuable maybe a laser rangefinder is, or proper milling at that point, if that's all you had as a quick opportunity, because the eyeball, it's not going to get you where you need to be. The other thing is, with this H58 reticle, for me, not having to turn anything, and to be able to, if I'm doing the fundamentals correctly, being behind my gun, to be able to watch where that bullet splash ends up, even though I made a bad wind call, and to take that splash and drive it to where the target is and pull the trigger for a follow-up shot, it really helps somebody, at least like me, who doesn't have a lot of experience behind the gun or having to constantly do corrections on the turret. So for me, it's It's a lot more simplified. I really like it.
You know, it's the environment which obviously helps us out here. I mean, you don't get an opportunity to shoot like this. I mean, even in the military, it's that KD course range. You know, you're shooting out to 1,000 yards on that perfect, you know, golf course. And when you get out into a reality situation like this, it's just an unreal experience to be able to like those 2 last targets we just shot. That one over there looks like it's 1,000 yards away, but it's the same exact range as this one right here, that looks 300 yards away. It's just a real great experience because, I mean, most guys out there, and specifically sniper roles, are playing precision, and I've done a lot of it in my career where I felt like I just keep failing and failing and failing because I'm guessing, you know, and I'm guessing, and it's just like, well, that'll work, I guess. And out here you really find out what works because of what the bullet tells you, and because, like, with this equipment, the reticles, the technology, it's like this huge art of precision. I mean, it's so complicated. The equipment and guys like you, thank God, have taken that world and made it even more complicated, which makes it easier for us, which doesn't make much sense, but it does when you get out here, and it does when you do this, and you use this equipment the right way. You let the bullet tell you what it's doing, and it's just a great experience.
Part of the fundamentals of just learning to read how the gun is set up at the scope, especially in the cant on the gun. That just was a huge eye-opener to myself as well, because again, we're shooting normally on a flat square range. You know, everything is marked off, the distance is already preset, predetermined, and we're behind the gun. And everything's leveled, everything's squared up, everything's true, but you get in this terrain, and the terrain features are changing, the perception of it all, and then realizing what you think the gun is set up straight, it's not, and you realize once you get more of a cant and a heavier cant left or right on the gun, that in turn with reading the wind really adds up. That's really a good part of the fundamentals, truthfully, of learning the system for myself.
Yeah, that's the big value of what we do when we come out here and do training, is get you off that golf course. You know, we're trying to get you in a real world environment where you're not laying on level ground, sorry, but that's kind of what we brought you out here for. And you're shooting in real world environments where there's terrain features. You know, you're shooting on a flat range, or shooting in woods where they've cut out a strip of woods, and you don't have that kind of wind value constantly changing. When I normally go into a base somewhere and we have a range that's, you know, been locked on 3 weeks out, that's the range that we have for that day. You know, and that may be the range that we have all that week, but we don't get to bounce around and swap ranges. This is kind of like 10 days of training wrapped up in one for the learning curve that you're getting out of it, because it's not, you don't get to shoot for 30 minutes and then move over and shift and shoot for 30 minutes, make a couple of misses, get your wind call down, shoot for another 30 minutes. Here it's one target, next target's already a big shift in the value of the wind. So what you actually learn by shooting this way is really calling wind, because on a normal range, you're gonna make 1 or 2 real wind calls in a day, and then you're kind of fudging around it. But here you're forced to really have to make that wind call every single shot.
Well, that's the thing for those guys out there that are, whether you're a hunter or whether you're that guy overseas putting foot to ass for your country, I mean, you don't get to choose the moment. The moment's going to choose you. And sometimes you got to take what you can get, and that's the bad thing about it. I think that institution or organizational inertia of sitting on that same range for a week and shooting over and over at the same thing, that's, to me, a training scar.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those deals. We do what we got to do, and we don't have the opportunity because of, you know, range fans and that kind of thing to actually shoot the way that would be best on normal installations. We're always pointing towards an impact area somewhere, and that's why my goal was to bring the guys out to an environment like this where the terrain features, you know, are really there, and they really do move the wind around, so the guys can come out and actually lay down and get 10 times the training value that they could on their own base somewhere out in an environment like this, where today is really nearly what we consider a no wind day here. You know, 12, 14 miles an hour, and it gusted up to 18 today.
Well, that's the funniest part. I mean, a lot of people won't even go out to the range when it's 20, 25 mile per hour winds. They're like, it's too windy. It's too windy for me. It's a waste of ammo. When it's not.
Yeah, and actually you'll find that you get a lot of confidence once you're out here and you shoot in 20, 25 mile an hour winds, 30 mile an hour winds, shooting at 8-inch plates at 12-inch plates at, you know, 900 meters. The guys leave the range after a week, 10 days of training, and they feel confident. If the wind's blowing 23, they're mad when they miss that 12-inch plate by an inch, you know, and they're just having a fit. But it's inspiring because you know they have confidence. You know, I had some guys show up one time, it's like wind blowing 40 miles an hour, and the higher command called up and said, hey, y'all stay out of trouble. And he said, hey, sir, you know, he's making us shoot every day, you know, and this stuff. He said, we're watching the weather, stay out of trouble. And he said, you know, they told me really when we were out there shooting, they didn't feel like we'd actually be able to do as well as we did during that training cycle in that high wind. And then when they left, when the wind was only blowing 20 to 25 miles an hour, their confidence was super high that they could hit every target out there.
Well, I think that's where the bottom line is like when we first came out here today, even in 15 to 20 mile per hour winds, I started cringing. I'm like, oh man, we're actually going to shoot in this. And the confidence boost is, I think that is the bottom line. We preach failure points every single day in our own you know, methodologies and in our core principles. And that's exactly what this is a failure point that on that ladder of excellence that we've all reached up and grabbed one higher because now we're confident with 20, 30 mile per hour winds.
Yeah, my failure point has been with this gun is just gun setup. You know, I had a real long length of pull, and every time I came out here and I'm trying to get behind the gun, I'm trying to get as straight as I can. I pull the trigger and, you know, the gun jumps and I can't even see where that bullet impact is on my grid on that 58 reticle. And at that point, you know, the gun dives down, and, you know, the funny thing is you figure it's on the ground, I'm behind it, I'm going to stop it, but as you get into, you know, 300 Win Mag or 338, it's really important for that gun to jump straight back. And today, after just removing one piece, just something as simple as gun setup that you covered yesterday, by removing one piece, that gun's jumping straight back, recoiling straight back, which allows me to see that hit or miss, primarily that miss, which is most important, and then do a quick correction on it, where normally I'm trying to hurry up and manhandle the gun back just to try to see did it hit to the right or left, but I can't even measure whether it was, you know, 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, I can't even measure it. I'm just like, well, I was to the right. And now I'm actually a little more detailed just in getting into gun setup. Yeah. So it kind of goes back to what you say, you know, if you spend a little bit more time on proper gun setup, it helps all this out here, you know, but if not, it's just a compiled train wreck.
And we really have to take the time as type A personalities to really set up the gun properly. You know, most of us have shot for most of our life, you know, and so it's real easy to take it for granted and jump on a weapon system and go, yeah, I can make it happen. All right, the value that you got out of actually setting up the gun properly is huge, as you saw today. Yeah. You know, and then, you know, the other side of the coin, in actual training on the winds that we got to train in today and changing every course a different direction of fire, with all that combined, normally what we could have done on a normal flat range somewhere, you know, on your normal range, it had taken us 5 days to get to the level that y'all are at today. Y'all were making excellent wind calls on your own, you know, so I was just there as a backup to kind of make you think, hey, watch the wind, it's slowing down, that kind of deal. But y'all are already at the level to where y'all are already building that confidence, you know, and it's one's from basic setup, just like you're saying, because now with the basic fundamentals, setting up the gun properly, doing the right things behind the gun, now you can actually take that shot, see where the impact is. But you gain the knowledge of each shot, and that's what we're here for. You know, and then it really becomes, you know, a self-learning tool once you have everything set up right. You know, once you get the base formulas down, really long range isn't that hard. You know, long range can be really made pretty easy. It doesn't have to be that hard with the math. That's when we kind of slowed everything down and made the formulas that third grade formula, you know, to where we can do it quickly and we have confidence in it and it works.
You know, coming from my division, you know, wind is one of the single biggest variables we deal with on an everyday basis on the airborne operations side of the house. And that's a variable we have to learn to respect and read properly for our calcs or whatever it is we're doing driving parachutes. And I see a lot of the similarities between mechanical turbulence examples and some of the methodology we preach, but seeing all that put together, you know, there's a lot of controversy out there over, you know, which wind is the important one, the one at the gun or the one at the target. And just your no-nonsense approach to it's all important. It's all valid, and showing us that bullet flight all the way from the gun out to our target, and you know where you're nipping a little bit off and where you're adding that value back in, and how to come up with a very complete picture of that firing solution and how to read that wind. It really simplifies the whole process.
Hey Todd, thanks for a really great and informative day. You know, it's just a quick reality check, and that's awesome, so thank you very much.
Well, y'all are a fun bunch to work with. You're all real knowledgeable shooters, You're real mature in your shooting, so I mean, you're just going to get better and better, and it's going to just get easier and easier.